Every invention has a beginning, every empire has a founder. And every moment that changes the world starts with one simple idea. Here on Slatt Tales, we journey through history to uncover the remarkable people, groundbreaking inventions, and unforgettable events that shaped the world we live in today. From ancient civilizations to modern technology, every story has a lesson waiting to be discovered. So sit back, relax, and let's travel through time together. Take a moment and think about the last video you watched. Maybe it was a music video while driving to work. Maybe it was a recipe that helped you cook dinner. Perhaps it was a documentary, a comedy sketch, a football highlight, or even a tutorial that taught you a new skill. Now imagine that none of it existed. Imagine opening your computer and discovering there was no YouTube, no creators sharing their lives, no students learning from free educational videos, no gamers streaming their adventures, no podcasts reaching millions of listeners, no endless library of music, documentaries, movie trailers, or DIY guides waiting to be explored. It's almost impossible to picture because YouTube has become so deeply woven into our daily lives that we rarely stop to wonder how it all began. Today, more than 2 decades after its launch, billions of people visit YouTube every month. Every minute, hundreds of hours of new video are uploaded. Entire careers have been built on the platform. Businesses have grown because of it. Artists have found worldwide audiences. Teachers have reached students on the other side of the planet. Families have preserved memories that might otherwise have been lost. In many ways, YouTube has become one of humanity's largest collections of knowledge, creativity, and shared experience. But here's the remarkable part. The people who created YouTube weren't trying to build one of the world's most influential companies. They weren't trying to reshape entertainment. They weren't trying to challenge television. They weren't trying to become billionaires. They simply wanted to solve a frustrating problem that almost everyone using the internet faced at the time. A problem so common that millions of people had simply accepted it as normal. This is the extraordinary story of how 3 ordinary engineers transformed a simple idea into one of the greatest inventions of the digital age. But to understand why YouTube became such a revolution, we first have to return to a very different internet. Chapter 1. Before the world could stream. The year is 2004. The internet is already changing people's lives. Search engines are becoming smarter, online shopping is growing. Email has become part of everyday communication. People are beginning to connect through websites like MySpace and Friendster, sharing photos, messages, and pieces of their lives with friends and family. Yet despite all this progress, the internet still feels incomplete. If you wanted to read the news, you could. If you wanted to send an email across the world, you could. If you wanted to search for almost any piece of information, you could. But if you wanted to upload a simple home video, you were in for a frustrating experience. Back then, sharing videos online wasn't easy. In fact, for many people, it was nearly impossible. Internet connections were painfully slow. Many households still relied on dial-up service, where every connection to the web began with the unforgettable screech of a modem negotiating its way onto the network. Even broadband, where available, was far slower than what most people take for granted today. A video recorded on a digital camera could take hours to upload if the upload didn't fail first. And that was only the beginning of the problem. Different cameras saved videos in different formats. Some websites supported one format but rejected another. Many people had to download special software just to watch a clip someone had sent them. If the person on the receiving end didn't have the correct media player or codec installed, the video simply wouldn't play. The technology existed, but it wasn't simple. And when technology isn't simple, most people don't use it. So instead of sharing videos online, many families copied them onto CD-discs or DVD-discs. Parents mailed discs of birthday parties to relatives in other cities. Friends carried USB drives to school or work. Businesses burned promotional videos onto physical media. It was slow, it was inconvenient, and it felt strangely outdated for an internet that promised to connect the world. Without realizing it, millions of people were waiting for someone to remove the barriers. They just didn't know who that someone would be. Chapter 2. A world about to change. The early 2000s were filled with innovation. Portable music players were becoming more popular. Digital cameras were replacing film. Laptops were becoming more affordable. People were beginning to imagine a future where nearly everything could happen online. Yet one important piece of the puzzle was still missing: video. Today, video dominates the internet. It entertains us, educates us, informs us, and even influences how we make decisions. But in 2004, online video was still an afterthought. Most websites focused on text and images because those were much easier to load over slow internet connections. Even when companies tried to host videos, they often struggled with expensive storage costs and limited bandwidth. Servers could quickly become overwhelmed if too many people tried to watch the same clip at once. For entrepreneurs, this presented a daunting challenge. Hosting video wasn't just technically difficult, it was incredibly expensive. Most investors believed it wasn't worth the risk. Who would want to build a website dedicated entirely to videos when uploading them was so frustrating? It sounded like a business destined to fail, yet history has a way of rewarding people who see opportunity where everyone else sees obstacles. Some of the greatest inventions in history weren't created because people wanted fame. They were created because someone became tired of hearing the words, "That's just the way things are." Somewhere in California, 3 young engineers were about to ask a simple question that would change the internet forever. What if uploading a video was as easy as sending an email? At the time, they couldn't have known that this single question would transform entertainment, education, journalism, and communication for generations to come. They had no idea they were standing at the edge of history. And in the next chapter of this story, we'll meet those 3 engineers, friends brought together by one company, united by one frustrating problem, and destined to build a platform that would give a voice to billions. To be continued.